Hey, my name is Seth Yolorda, and I'm a speaker, coach, and consultant, and I work with individuals and organizations, helping them to gain clarity, build momentum, and achieve strategic results. And in this episode, I want to ask you a question. How much do you spend every year on your personal and professional development? That's where we're going today. I want to know, and I want you to start to think about it. How much do you spend every single year on your personal and professional development? I'm not talking about the groceries that you buy or the clothes that you wear or your laundry service. I'm talking about how much do you spend on maintaining your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your leadership. How much do you spend making sure that you keep your skills sharp on your job and that you're growing and getting those promotions? That's the question I want to wrestle with. I was reading online where there was a stat that said that the average American spends around $3,600 a year on entertainment. And I was like, okay, well, what do I mean by entertainment? And that it looks like digital entertainment, in-person entertainment, like, social outings, recreational activities, live shows, and then special occasions, concerts, and things of that nature. So if the average person spends around $3,600, $3,600 to $3,700 a year on entertainment, and I would just say, average salary, let's say take home salary is around $70,000, $80,000, maybe $90,000, that's around like 3%. So the average person spends around 3% of their take-home income on entertainment. I said to myself, surely the average person spends at least the same amount on their personal and professional development, gym memberships, therapy, coaches, conferences, workshops. Surely the average person spends that much on their personal and professional development. And lo and behold, I was wrong, because I read another article that said the average person only spends around $527 a year on their personal development. Now, that might not be including gym memberships, right? And so if you take into account the average gym membership, you can get one at Crunch for $10 a month, or maybe up to like $29, $39 a month. So you add, let's say, another $100 on top of that, $150 on top of that. The average person is spending less than $700 a year on their personal development. Now, we spend $3,600 a year on our entertainment, but less than $700 a year on our personal and professional development, which literally blows my mind. We will spend, assuming average person's income is 70, 80, 90% take home, we'll spend less than 1% of our take home income on personal and professional development. How in the world do we think we are going to continue to grow if we never take time to invest in our growth and development? Now, what's interesting is that a lot of individuals, and I know a lot of organizations, provide a personal development, let's say, budget for their employees. And I was reading online again, just doing my research for this particular episode, and I saw that the average organization will allocate around 1 to 5% of an employee's salary for development. So the average organization will allocate 1 to 5%. So again, if they're paying you, let's say $70,000 a year, they might allocate $700, right? $800. I know the organization I work for in healthcare, they would give us $3,000 a year for professional development, right? Conferences, workshops, continuing education, that type of thing, which is really generous. A previous organization I worked for, it was like $500, I want to say. I think it was like $500 a year towards like your education fund. And so, yeah, there are some organizations that are more generous than others that are investing, and that is beautiful, and that is something we should be grateful for. But aside from what the organization is doing, my concern is, are you investing in your own development? Are you investing in your own mental health by seeing a therapist, your own personal development by having a coach, your own fitness by not just having a gym membership, but maybe having a trainer if you're trying to go for a specific goal, a fitness goal, or maybe hiring a nutritionist if you're trying to really dial in your food, right? By having individuals on your team, your own personal board of directors, and you're paying them for their expertise so they can speak into your life and help you reach your goal. Now, it's interesting to me because when we look at the highest performers on earth, Now, it's interesting to me because when we look at the highest performers, let's say in the sports arena, generally speaking, athletes invest a large amount of money on their personal and professional development. Case in point, LeBron James, one of the highest paid, highest performing athletes ever. 40 years old, still playing very competitive basketball in the NBA. And LeBron James studies have come out, or reports have come out saying that he invests $1.5 million every year on his health regimen. Physical therapy, personal chefs, all of those things that keep him at 40 years old having optimum elite health. He invests $1.5 million. Now, we can look at his annual salary because it's online, and the Lakers paid him around $47 million this year. And so 47 million, that's roughly around 3% overall salary he invested towards his health regimen. So not his entertainment, which we don't have those numbers, and they're maybe higher, maybe lower, we don't know. Not entertainment, but he's investing 3% of his salary towards making sure he can show up at 40 years old and still run and compete with these 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. When you understand that you have a phenomenal, big, hairy, audacious goal that you're going after, one thing that you will do for sure is you will want to invest in making sure that you are positioned mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, from a leadership perspective, personally, interpersonally, to be able to capitalize on that goal. Everyone, I just want to take a minute and invite you to join the Accelerate Clarity Coaching Cohort. This is a coaching cohort designed for individuals who are serious about crushing their goals, and they recognize they need to be a part of a community that will hold them accountable and that will support them as they accelerate towards their future self. If that's you, I want you to go to visionclarityconsulting.com/accelerate. You get all the information there. We meet twice a week. We have hot seats. We have quarterly masterminds. This is designed for individuals who want to take serious the call on their life. And so if that's you, jump over to that website. I'll put the link below. You can learn all about it. This is a 12-month process. It's a 12-month coaching cohort where we are going to make sure that you reach your goals, whatever your goals would be: financial, fitness, your faith, spiritual goals, professional goals, personal goals, whatever your goals will be. These are for individuals who say, you know what? I need community. I need support. I want to make sure I'm not doing this thing alone. I want you to check out visionclarityconsulting.com/accelerate. I'll see you there. Peace. So I want you to take some time to really think about your budget and ask yourself, how much am I investing in my personal development? You know, I might read some books, get some books from Amazon. Maybe you have an Audible account. There's a ton of free resources online. So I'm not suggesting that it's just pay is the only way to develop. But I really want you to think about, are you deploying your resources into the areas of your life that are most important? And I want to make an argument and a case for you that if you're not deploying resources into your personal development and growth and your professional development and growth, you are not seeing the big picture. Because the big picture says, I need to continue to surround myself with individuals who are going to challenge me, who are going to call out my BS, who are going to push me towards greatness, who are going to pull me up the Mount Everest of my life, who are going to support me and encourage me. I have to surround myself with the right individuals. And if I need to pay for them, I'm not paying them, I'm investing in myself. So the goal for my life is not 3% in personal professional development. The goal for my life is 10%. I want to be at that point. I want to challenge you to get there with me, where I'm investing no less than 10% in my personal and professional development. That means if I'm bringing home $100,000 a year, $10,000 a year, just around $800 a month is going towards my personal development. Coaches, therapists, nutritionists, trainers, all those individuals who are going to help Seth Yolorda operate at his highest level so he can continue to deliver high levels of services as it relates to helping people gain clarity, build momentum, and achieve strategic results. That's my goal. And when I think about my budget this last year, I got pretty close to it. And it wasn't just in trainers and therapists and coaches, but it's also in going to conferences, business coaches, joining communities, paid communities. I'm a part of a paid community right now where I'm paying a good amount of money every single month. And they are keeping me sharp. They're holding me accountable. I'm surrounding myself with people who are a few steps ahead of me and a few steps behind me in my business. And we are experiencing that phenomenon of iron sharpening iron. I'm paying to be a part of that community. So I really want you to take a hard look at your budget. And I want you to say, where in my budget do I see a line item that is specifically for my personal development? Now, it doesn't have to be 10% tomorrow. And you might say, I got some other financial goals. I'm trying to get out of debt. I'm trying to, save up for this house. I'm trying to do some things over here. And all of that is fine. And there's a place for all of that. But I at least want you to be aware of it. And I want you to start taking active steps to increase whatever that deployment amount is. So if last year you only spent, let's say $500 on courses or on some books or maybe a conference, this year let's make it $600. If last year it was $200, this year let's make it $300. If last year was $1,000, this year let's make it $1,500. And if you consistently invest in yourself, you will see a return on that investment. So that's the question I have for you. Now, I know there's some people out there who are going to say, well, I just can't afford it right now. If you can afford $3,600 for Netflix and chill, you can take some of that subscription money. You don't need Netflix and Disney and Hulu and YouTube TV and all of the other things that you have. You can take some of that and put it into coaching, into therapy, into a trainer, a nutritionist. You can do that. It's not about whether or not you can afford it, because you spend hundreds of dollars every month on entertainment, on numbing the brain, zoning out, vegging out. So for those of you who are saying, well, I'm not sure if I can afford it. Okay, let's just be honest. You can afford it. It may not be a priority for you, but you can sure enough afford it. Now, I know someone else is listening to this and they're saying, well, what if I invest in a coach? Or what if I invest in a therapist? Or what if I invest in this trainer and it doesn't work? Okay, that's a question, maybe even a legitimate question. Let me flip that question for you. What if you stay the same for the next 5 years? What if nothing about your life changes for the next 5 years? Where will you be? Let's just have that conversation. Because that is ultimately what we're saying. It's like, well, what if it doesn't work? So I'm not sure if it's going to work. So I'm just going to stay right where I am. And you might say, well, I'm not going to stay the same. I'm going to listen to free YouTube videos and free podcasts. And okay, great. Perfect. Go back and look at all the things that you have listened to on podcasts, on all the things that you've looked at, watched on YouTube. And ask yourself, what percentage of the free content I consume was actually personal and professional development? Like, are you listening to best practice types of books? Are you listening to personal development books? Are you listening to books that are teaching you how to communicate better, how to have better conflict resolution skills, or better leadership skills? Are you listening to those types of books, or are you listening to like fiction books? Or are you listening to books and watching YouTube videos that really fall into that entertainment zone? Because if all I'm doing is watching replays of ESPN and Housewives of Atlanta on YouTube, that should not be considered personal and professional development. If anything, that is sucking the life out of you. That's like the opposite of development. So I want you to really evaluate your life and ask yourself those tough questions. How much time and energy and resources am I deploying into my entertainment versus my development? And at least if there's a discrepancy where you're spending more on entertainment than you are on development, at least be aware of it. And this month, start to make a few strategic shifts in how you're deploying your resources so that you can spend more on your development and maybe a little bit less on your entertainment. Listen, I hope this episode challenged you. That was my goal for this episode. I wanted this episode to challenge you. I don't want you to stay right where you are. I want you to grow and I want you to develop. And if you want to grow and develop, I have a perfect opportunity for you. You can join my small, intimate coaching community. The link is in the bio. You can go to visionclarityconsulting.com/accelerate. I will provide group coaching for you and for the other individuals who are in it twice a week to make sure that you are continuing to push yourself towards the call and the goals that God has put on your heart to achieve. So I hope you feel challenged, and I hope I see you and Accelerate. I love you. Peace.